Since my time is limited, in 2024 there were a few movies that I've kind of skipped from reviewing. Substance is one of them. I knew two things about the movie. One is that Demi Moore gets naked in it. The other is that it's a horror movie. But is it any good? Let's find out. I'm Meffistoe. Like, share, and subscribe because this is my review of the movie, The Substance.
Lizzie?
The Substance is a body horror movie that is literally made by one creator, Corelie Fargeat. She wrote, directed, co-edited, co-produced the movie, and it stars Demi Moore, Margaret Qualley, and Dennis Quaid. The movie was released exclusively on the streaming platform Mubi and later on released in theaters on a limited run because the distributors wanted to have some award recognition. Fargeat doesn't have a lot of credits to her name, but she is known for the 2017 movie Revenge, which is up to this point of making this review I have not seen yet. The Substance introduces to the life of fading Hollywood celeb Elizabeth Sparkle, once a much beloved screen actress that turned into a morning exercise guru. As her looks and fame fade away, she feels like she's being discarded, which her producer Harvey definitely is planning on doing.
This is network TV, not a fucking charity. Find me somebody new. Now!
She winds up at a hospital after a traffic accident, and a young doctor hands her a card that holds temptation. What is that temptation? A sort of fountain of youth in a material called the Substance. This substance becomes a gift and a burden as the fading Elizabeth quickly learns to live with it. Of course, there's much more to explain, and there's no major spoilers. However, I will let you experience the rest of the story for yourself.
Gorgeous. With a pure heart. People are gonna love that.
I will, however, start my review with the look and sound of the movie. Cinematically, the movie is gorgeous and very artistic, much more than you expect out of a low-budget film like this. There are extreme, sometimes invasive close-ups and unique angles that normally a movie doesn't take, and it's mostly because it puts the main actor or actress in a not-so-favorable light. The Substance throws all that out the window as it gets up close and personal with Demi Moore's character Elizabeth and others, of course. And if there is such a thing as a non-sexual nudity in a film, this movie should be on the top of that list, or at least on the top 5. Demi Moore's body is explored through and through, and it's only to make a specific point, which I'll get to in a bit. Everything except a full close-up of her vagina was on display, and this is a 60-year-old woman, a well-kept one, but how should I say this? A well-constructed one over the years? In any case, most of the time that Demi was nude, the room was bright, and she could not escape the camera's eye, which is only highlighting the point that Fargeat wanted to make. The other great thing about this movie is the sound and the sound mixing. Every time Fargeat wanted to make a specific point or emphasize something else, you were not only watching a thing on the screen, you also heard it in your ears. And let me be a little bit more specific. It was switching between sometimes almost being deaf to having your brain hear everything because it was deep ASMR. So all the gnarly bits in your day-to-day life were enhanced, and you can feel it from the first time Elizabeth has a conversation with her producer Harvey at a restaurant.
At 50, well, it stops.
What stops?
In terms of the performances, Demi Moore carried this movie on her back. She did a great job of convincing you that she is that celebrity. I'm only going to guess here that she's not like that in real life. It could be. She might be playing herself, but turned up to 11 or maybe even 12. But it seems to me that the movie and Demi's character were inspired by actresses like Jane Fonda and Suzanne Summers, but of course taken up to the absolute extreme. Moore was very, very brave to be on display like this. This is not striptease Moore or disclosure Moore. This is a 60-year-old mature Moore that lets the audience judge her just as much as the audience would have judged Elizabeth Sparkle, or at least how Elizabeth Sparkle judges herself. I can't really talk too much about Margaret Qualley's performance because I think it'll give too much away, but I will say this: every time she's on screen, she's confident, cocky, and bubbly all at the same time. She embodies what young Hollywood is all about throughout the years, to be fair. And even though she's a young and attractive actress, her body was also on display from angles that most times you don't even see. Just to give you a juxtaposed comparison between her character and Demi's character. Dennis Quaid, for the few minutes he's on screen does the best impression of Harvey Weinstein, and probably most of other slimy producers in Hollywood. The movie doesn't really explore the illicit nature of that relationship, but it felt like Quaid knows exactly who this character called Harvey is, which kind of invokes the old geezer, I'm sure. But because Quaid must have run into these guys throughout his life in Hollywood, he produced a solid performance, and the first time I see him in such a role since Great Balls of Fire. The movie, not the song.
You are the Matrix. Everything comes from you, and everything is you.
On the whole, The Substance is a tale of chasing your fading youth and the price you have to pay to get it, especially in a world like Hollywood where people, especially women, get discarded rather quickly or relegated to the sideline, and then, just to capture that youth, do crazy things to their body. No, this is not a movie about plastic surgery. This isn't E's Botched the Movie, although it is kind of reminiscent of what E produces sometimes. But it does ask the question of how far will you go to be youthful again? And will you pay the price? And moreover, will you keep paying the same price over and over and over again? The nudity is visceral, but it is essential to the story because at the end of the day, you take a shower and you strip away all your defenses. No clothes, no makeup, and nowhere to hide from the mirror. And then you are judged by the harshest critic ever, yourself. And after all that, do I have any criticism about the movie? Yes, a harsh one. The movie is long, too long for what it wanted to say. It doesn't feel like a horror movie. It feels like more of a sci-fi one for the most part of it. The sound mixing kind of reminds you of gore sometimes in certain places, but the movie isn't really gory until a certain point. And that point is the third act, or more like the last 25 minutes of the movie. And this is where most of the 21,000 gallons of fake blood come into play, and where the movie turns from a genuine examination of celebrity culture into a weird gore fest David Cronenberg style, which leads to absolutely nothing. I was really into the movie, and everything gets progressively worse and worse and worse, and there's a moment there where I thought, wow, the movie could end right here and leave you wanting for more and being ambiguous about it. But then the movie didn't end and totally let me down. I hate finishing watching a movie like this with an awful taste in my mouth, but that's what happens in The Substance. It just completely falls apart at the end of the movie. However, I will recommend you watch this movie. Cinematically, it looks great. Demi's acting is worth it. The makeup and special effects were 95% practical, which is awesome, even though it did cause a bit of skin harm for poor Margaret Qualley. The sound design is fantastic, but the movie is overly long and fails at the last moments, which could easily be avoided with clever editing. I thank you for watching, and remember, hope is a good thing, maybe even the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. I'll see you on the next video.